Okay, next up we have Steve Parsons, who's the Managing Director and founder of Gryphon Minerals. Many of you will know the business because they're based in Perth here. Gryphon was listed in 2004, and Steve has been associated with the company ever since. I had the good fortune to visit the key property, Banfora, in the south of Burkina a couple of years ago, and if the number of artisanals on the surface at that time is any indication of gold, then he's on a winner. I think there's nearly 5 million ounces there, so Steve, tell us all about it, please.
Great, thanks very much, Mick. Thanks very much to Diggers for the opportunity to present. It's the first time we've presented here, so it's great for Gryphon Minerals. So look, I'll flick through. Obviously, it's been fairly tough times for the gold industry in the last few months, or slightly longer actually. And we've put out a couple of announcements to show, some of the major cost cutting that we've been doing with our business and focusing in on getting the project ready, adding value and de-risking it as far as possible. We're ready for that market window to hopefully open back up in the gold space. So look, I'll walk you through what we're doing at Banfora in Burkina Faso and our major asset there, and also quickly through a couple of the other assets that we have in the business as well. So this slide really does summarise Gryphon Minerals. At the moment we have a very strong cash balance with $52 million in cash. It's very important to us because obviously as we go into our development at Banfora in Burkina Faso, every dollar that we need to raise to build that will be dilution to the company and or debt and hedging. So hence why that security, that $52 million is very important, and we're holding a very tight rein on that money at the moment. So at Banfora, it's nearly 5 million ounces of gold there. It's a virgin new discovery. Gryphon Minerals has discovered that ourselves over there in Burkina. We were one of the first Australian companies into Burkina Faso. It's a great jurisdiction, and I'll talk about the country a little bit later. We came out with a bankable feasibility study at the start of this year on a 2 million tonne per annum processing plant that'll be producing around about 150,000 ounces of gold a year at cash costs of around about $700 an ounce of very low cash costs. So a very robust study. And right now we're pushing through with the permitting. We expect that to be completed, the mine permitting, by Christmas of this year, and hence we can start construction any time within 3 years after that. Obviously we'll be pushing through as quickly as possible once the full funding is in place. And on the full funding solution, we've had 12 banks approach us for debt financing with term sheets, so it's a very strong indication there on the debt side of things. And obviously, as I said, that $52 million in cash is very important for us. We're currently re-optimising the plant, looking at the capital costs and operating costs. We'll be expecting to bring something out in the next quarter on reduction of those costs, and you'll see the capital costs coming down from the $208 million that are there at the moment to much less than that as we look at alternative ways of building the plant. And we expect the cash costs to come down slightly as well from the already low $700 cash costs. We also have a pipeline of exploration properties in Mauritania, and we've recently put out some fantastic drill results on those, some very high-grade zones. It looks really exciting. Unfortunately, it's second fiddle to Banfora at the moment as we push forward on our core asset. And also I'll quickly talk about the possibility of some copper that we have in Mauritania, and just very quickly on two investments that we hold in other ASX-listed companies and how they're looking. So as I said, cash is king for us right now, 52 million in the bank. With 400 million shares on issue, there are no options out there that are in the money, so still quite tightly held. The share price is all-time lows, and we're currently trading at an enterprise value of almost zero. So everything we're talking about today at Banfora for the project that it is, it's almost $0 value for that right now, which is quite incredible. We have very good liquidity in the company. There's a good turnover of stock every day. We're very strongly held institutionally. It's about 75 to 80% institutions, and those institutions are spread around the world. We have 20% out of London and Europe, 25% out of the States and Canada, and then the remainder here in Australia. We also have the World Bank as a 5% shareholder in the company as well. So a strong register and a good cash position, and tightly held, and management owning a good portion of stock as well. So we've achieved a lot, over the last few years. We were the first company into Burkina Faso. It's a great jurisdiction. There's a number of ASX companies there now, I believe something like 20 odd, and some really good discoveries coming out of Burkina Faso. We've had year-on-year resource growth there. It was virgin ground when we picked it up we've added ounces every year, and last year we came out, at the end of last year, started this year, came out with a bankable feasibility study on the project. So every year we've added value and we've delivered on what we've said we're going to deliver on, and obviously the key drivers for this year, the deliverables for us are listed out on the right-hand side there, and what I spoke about before, what will be achieved before the end of this year. So West Africa, I'm sure you're quite familiar with it now. There's a lot of companies over there. As I said, we're in Burkina Faso. It's a great jurisdiction to be mining and exploring. We're in the southwest of the country there. We also have licences in Mauritania for gold, right next door to right next door to Kinross's Tassius discovery. It's 15 million ounces of gold. And we have some exposure to copper there as well, next door to First Quantum's copper gold mine, and we'll be expecting first results back on that copper and gold exploration sometime over the next few weeks. So Burkina Faso itself, it's as I said, it's a great place to be. It's open for mining. It's something like the fourth largest gold producing country in Africa right now, and it's gone from zero gold production only 5 years ago to get to that figure. The government is pushing for mining. We will be the first Australian gold mine in Burkina Faso and the next mine to get up and running in Burkina Faso. So the permitting process started in February of this year. It'll be completed by Christmas. So it's a very quick process for us there, and strong local and government support. We're down in the southwest of Burkina Faso, in the southwest corner there. It's easy to get to, there's a sealed road pretty much up until the project boundary, and from there it's only another 30 kilometres into our site, where we have a field camp in the centre of the property. It's a typical Birimian rocks, the same as most of the West African gold discoveries over there. We like the area to start with because we're on the Burkina Faso side of the corner there with Côte d'Ivoire and Mali, so obviously a great jurisdiction to be in. And we're a long strike from the Tongon deposit, which is 4.5 million ounces of gold, and Randgold's latest gold mine, so we knew we had a very good chance of finding gold, and also in the same geological belt as Syama and Perseus's Tengrilla deposits as well, so we knew we had a very good chance of finding gold. We're fortunate, we've got hydroelectric grid power running up near the property, and that's factored into the bankable feasibility study as well. We have plenty of water for the project as well, so we're very lucky with the location of where we are at Banfora. And as I said, and as you heard Alan talking before about Andy Well, not many new greenfields discoveries out there at the moment, and Gryphon's exploration team has discovered all of this. It's 5 million ounces or just under. You'll see that resource growing over time as well. It's a big district. We've only drilled a very small portion of it, and you'll see that reserve growth as well as we drill more holes into the inferred category and boost that up. And when you look at other ASX explorers and developers and producers, it really does a strong resource base that we have there of close to 5 million ounces of gold. And then when you look at the BFS numbers and the cash costs, we're looking at around about $700 cash costs per ounce. All-in sustaining costs, we haven't put that out to the market yet because we were waiting for the Gold Council to come out with a standard formula. With the re-optimisation work that we're looking at doing at the moment, with reduction of the cash costs, we'll be looking to see them come down, and all-in costs of somewhere in the order of $1,000 to $1,100 costs we'll be expecting to be announcing towards the end of this year. But there's a real chance for bringing these capital costs down, and we're looking at a whole raft of things from second-hand equipment through, as well as on the operating costs. That hydropower will bring the costs down, and we also have a very good, very broad low-grade halo that sits around the main deposit that we treat as waste at the moment and is dug out. We believe that we'll be able to make money from this at a very cheap cost in a heap leach operation, and we're doing studies on that at the moment. So the BFS was run at a $1,300 gold price. As I said, we're re-optimising now. Some of the main facts are that the grade is very good. The reserve grade is 2 grams per tonne or just under. It's oxide that's going through the mill for the first few years, and then the life of mine is a blend of 70% sulphide, 30% oxide. Very good recoveries, metallurgical recoveries using a coarse grind. We get 92% there. And the head grade for the first couple of years is currently at 2.38 grams per tonne with oxide. You will see that number coming up as well, as we've just recently completed some infill drilling on the reserve grade, so that grade will come up as well. And as I said, on the capital cost, 208 million, it's already fairly low, but you will see that coming down as well with those re-optimisations. So the project itself in the southwest of Burkina Faso, this is 1,200 square kilometres, so it's a big land holding. We own it 100%. The mining licence, when that's granted at the end of the year, will be owned 10% by the government, and Gryphon Minerals will own 90% of that. There's a central processing plant that'll be built at the main deposit at Nogbele, and then the satellite deposits of Samavogo, Stinger and Fakora will be trucked to Nogbele, and they're all, it's flat topography, it's easy to get to. It's no different to being out the back here in Kalgoorlie and trucking dirt, 15 kilometres or so. So it's very easy to do. The plant itself is, is a simple CIL plant. It's simple metallurgy, as I said. The plant's being designed to be upscaled as well. So currently it's 2 million tonnes per annum that can be upscaled to 4 million tonnes per annum at a later date. And a coarse grind of 106 microns. So very simple, metallurgy, and obviously a very simple build on the plant as well. The main pit there, Nogbele, it might be a bit hard to see some of the results, but the main pit there, you're looking at a pit that's 1.5 kilometres long and 150 metres deep and fairly wide as well. And then the satellite pits, obviously, they're a little bit smaller, but you'll see them grow as well once we complete the infill drilling for the reserve category to increase. And we recently, upgraded the grade at the deposit, at the Nogbele deposit, with the reserve drilling that we put out, and you can see some very high grade numbers that are well above the current grade for the mine. So we'll be expecting to see that grade increase as well, especially in the starter pit oxide material. Now, in the main deposit at Nogbele, we have a low-grade halo that sits around the main deposit, and there's nearly 1 million ounces of gold there, going at about 0.7 grams per tonne gold. We recently did some heap leach test work on that, quite a lot of work actually run by Caps Cassidy, who are world leaders there. We came back with some very good gold recoveries after a very short amount of time. So we're currently in the process of doing a scoping study and feasibility study on that, and that'll be factored into the optimisation studies that we'll do at the end of the year. But this could add some further ounces to production, because currently, as I said, it's waste ore that's being waste that's being moved. Suddenly we can start making money off this waste material as well at cheap costs. So the heap leach will add significant value once that study comes out later this year. There's huge upside on the property. We've only drilled it down to 150 metres or so, or the bulk of the resources down to about that level. There's obviously some very good grade. You saw those results that I put out just before of, a few metres at 30-odd grams an ounce of gold. So there's exploration potential at depth to push those pits deeper, to push them along strike, and obviously underground potential in the future. But on the regional side of things, we own this 100%, and it's 1,200 square kilometres. It's a huge land package. I'm showing you here the outline of the project, and Nogbele is where the plant will be built, and you can see the trucking distance 15 kilometres away to Samavogo, which is the furthest pit, which will be trucked. But I've draped the soil geochemistry over the top of the project area there, and you can see there's some huge soil anomalies that have yet to be tested. A few minor drill holes into these in numbers such as 15 metres at 5 grams from surface and 6 at 5 from surface as well. So a huge land package. We expect the resource to grow over the coming years. We expect that reserve grade to increase and the reserve ounces to increase as well. And so this area will be a long-lasting mining district over time. So stepping back out, that's Banfora in a bit of a nutshell, really. Our other pipeline of exploration properties is in Mauritania. We have some very good ground there for copper and copper gold at Ajout and Sabasiri, and you'll see first pass results coming out on those in the next few weeks, of which we're excited about. But our Tijerit property next door to Tasiast is a project that we've just recently completed work on. It's right next door to Tasiast. It abuts the Kinross property. It's a big land holding. It's actually bigger than Banfora when you look at that map. It's 1,400 square kilometres. It's the same rock types as what you have at Tasiast, with banded iron formations and felsic units as well, and green schist facies metamorphism. We drilled a couple of diamond holes into our first targets. You can see the drill core there. We've hit sulphides and some very good grades, and also some pretty broad widths as well. So we're very excited. We've got a number of targets there. Right now, though, unfortunately for us, Banfora is the key focus about delivering on that. So the exploration work here, you won't see any drill results coming out at Tidgrit for the next few months, but you'll see further exploration to define the next round of drilling. But it's an exciting exploration project for us. And then lastly, we own investments in two other ASX-listed companies, Tawana and Renaissance Minerals. Both have got very good prospects. We own a small percentage, 10% or so of each of these, and these were originally divestments for Gryphon as Banfora became, the project that it is and the focus onto those. And over the last 2 years, these two companies have actually come up with some exciting new discoveries, and Tawana's got some very good high-grade iron ore next to a port facility in Liberia that looks like they'll be able to get up and running fairly quickly, and same with Justin Tremaine in Cambodia there, a great resource that sticks out from ground and good oxide at 2.5 grams per tonne gold, so a good discovery in a new region, very similar to what Gryphon had in Banfora. So we're very excited to support these two companies and follow them along. So really, it's a very quick overview of the company and what we're doing. Cash is our king at the moment, and we're looking after that cash because obviously that's going to help fund the project going forward and into development. The next mine in Burkina Faso and one of the next mines on the Australian Stock Exchange. It's a big resource base. That resource base will grow over time, both at depth and along strike and new discoveries. It's very good grade. It's excellent metallurgy. It's simple mine design. It's going to be producing a lot of ounces per annum at a very good cash cost rate of around $700 an ounce, and you'll see those numbers coming down as well once we've completed this optimisation work. So a lot of work for us to complete as we de-risk and get this project ready and add as much value as possible over the next 6 months as we lead up to Christmas. And obviously we've got some fairly exciting news coming out of our other exploration projects and investments that we have in the company. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much, Steve. It may have been your first presentation here at Diggers, but it was very eloquent and well presented. Just looking around in the audience here, I think you may have covered it comprehensively. Any questions? Thank you. One in the front, please. You might want to sit down here afterwards. All the questions come from the front.
Stephen, if all the geese are swans, when will you be in production? Would if everything rocks along pretty well, is it 18 months out? Or?
Yeah, look, it's a 15-month build for the project because it is such a simple design. Our next focus is to make sure we can get the full funding in place before we, really make a strong start on it. So 15 months from when we push the button, and permitting will be at the end of this year, so that's the timing.
And what are you doing to power the project?
It's hydropower that we're using, so Côte d'Ivoire supplies all the power up into Burkina Faso, and Côte d'Ivoire has a power grid that's all hydroelectric, and power costs are around about 11 cents a kilowatt hour, so very cheap.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it makes quite a big difference at 11 cents rather than 30 with diesel gensets.
Just one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Stephen, have you seen the costs of exploration come down in Burkina?
Well, cost for exploration's come right down for us because we've stopped the drill rigs at the moment to conserve cash. But look, without a doubt, drilling companies are desperate for work and rates have come right down, and there's plenty of staff out there to have as well. So yes, exploration is much cheaper right now. It's still, for us right now, it's not the best value add since it costs $20 an ounce to discover, and we're being valued at $1.50 an ounce at the moment. So it doesn't make sense for us to have the drill rigs turning.
Okay, Steve, thank you
Right,
very much
thanks
for the
very much.
presentation and good luck with Banfora.